So what are you doing?
What? You were wearing a hat. I felt kind of naked not having cover.
Well, it's not that kind of show.
On. It's not that kind of show, but we're doing video now. So
we are.
People, you don't let them see the hair anymore.
I have before.
So anymore. You get the hat on. So I just wanted to try to fit in with my nice comfy hooded sweatshirt that I got from woot.com, which does not support the show in any way, shape, or form.
Oh, all right.
I'll take it off if it makes you uncomfortable.
It's a little weird.
I know how you cops are with hoodies.
Oh.
Speaking of videos,
we are not going to do any sort of a preamble for this one because we haven't seen this. These are training videos that got sent out to me via work.
You mentioned that your sergeant does this every week at the beginning of the week.
Yep,
shares the videos.
Sends them out, and then we'll watch them on Thursdays. Yeah,
that's great. What a great training tool.
So there you go. Well, let's jump to the intro, and we'll get right into it. Here we go.
All right.
All right, so this week, the first one we're going.
Right off the bat, deadly shooting.
Yeah.
So I'm guessing it's cop video.
Yes, he does
Hoping it's a cop video.
He does not send us fire videos. I'm sorry.
All right, fired up.
All right, here we go.
That happened across the street from the state capitol last week. Bridget Namata joins us now with more. Bridget.
We don't know which state capitol.
HPD provided only 2 clips. We're
right.
only showing you one of those clips as the other shows the actual shooting.
See a taser out.
Again, with Officer Axon, this guy can't catch a break.
In a felony-threatening case. He was found in an area outside of the health department building with a machete and garden shears. State sheriff spent 20 minutes talking to him.
It's obvious he hasn't done the pruning he needs to do.
Obviously, around the electrical box.
Correct.
6 HPD officers arrived to help. In this first clip, Chief Susan Ballard said officers spent another 10 minutes trying to convince Denny to cooperate before he was fatally shot.
So back when I went to the academy, we had this nice little rule that was called ask, tell, make. Mm-hmm. Sir, with the machete, I'm going to ask you to put the weapon down, come out over here and talk to me.
I've only been doing this a little while, but in my limited experience, guys with machetes don't usually listen to instructions.
True.
So there's that. But he's also got pruning shears.
But you start with, please come this way.
Yeah.
Right? You start with please. You start with a nice common courtesy approach. Mm-hmm. And then when they don't, because they're not going to, then you say, come over here right now after you've already placed the dangerous implement upon the earth.
Again, my experience, usually if the first one doesn't work, the second one doesn't work too well.
Mm-hmm.
I have a feeling we're going to go to step 3 very quickly here.
Well, actually, it's not very quick. As our friendly journalist here, a reporter, has stated, they've already talked to him for 10 minutes.
Yes.
Which is a very long time.
It is a very long time.
And I'm not against it. If you have the staffing and you've got the ability to do that, hey, you talk everybody's ear off. That's fine. But at some point, you have to draw a line in the sand and say, okay, we can't leave this guy because he's done X, Y, and Z. I can't just say, okay, well, you're not going to come, so I guess we'll see you later, and let the machete-wielding crazy person go about his day. We cannot do that.
So we've spent 10 minutes asking.
Yep.
Possibly telling.
Pretty sure that it's gone to begging, cajoling, bribing, whatever you got to do.
I got some Cool Ranch Doritos.
Maybe that's what we're missing.
That has actually worked in the past to get people into an ambulance.
I'd get into an ambulance for some Cool Ranch Doritos. Who doesn't like Cool Ranch Doritos?
It's 79 cents, and it's a much easier chart for me to write.
Oh, hell yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
All right, so let's get back into it.
Here we go.
We just got to figure out everything that's going on. And if you come out over here, then we can talk.
I'm asking you guys. Why are you guys chasing me?
We're not chasing you.
In the second...
Jinx, you owe me a Coke.
Yeah. It can be interesting, and one of the things, MC, that I see on this video is the officer is saying, well, why don't you come out here and talk? And my first response, if you're saying that to me, is, we're talking now.
Sure.
So entice me some other way. Because I know full well when I come out...
With the aforementioned Cool Ranch Doritos.
I've seen enough of these videos. I've seen enough of what happens. When I come out, there's not going to be a calm discussion.
Probably not, but it is possible.
So it's important to throw some other words in there that makes me think, wow, my situation could be better with you than it is now.
Yeah, I take kind of a some blame for this. I have been known to be curt with my instruction because I make the educated assumption that the people I am speaking to on a traffic stop are adults.
You make an informed assessment.
Sure.
As Dan Pink would teach us. Yeah.
We can call it that. That's fine. So, like, just the other day, I had somebody that refused to sign a citation. And I said, not a problem. I didn't get all worked up about it. Not a problem. If you don't sign the citation, that means that you want to go see a magistrate, a.k.a. judge, a.k.a. commissioner, whatever, right this moment. So, which means I have to take you to jail first. So sign the citation or go to jail.
All right.
I don't care one way or the other.
Let's jump back in.
But make a decision.
Yeah.
Officers are moving towards the man to make an arrest. HPD says Denny lunges at an officer with one half of a garden shear, slashing him. Another officer shoots in retaliation, while another tries to use his taser at the same time.
Our officers did not and do not.
She needs smaller stars.
I was just thinking that.
Right?
We could talk about uniforms and all that other stuff, but I have to talk about amazing reflexes by the first officer in.
Okay.
He almost, the top part of his body starts leaning back before his feet stop going towards the suspect.
We call that matrixing out of a situation.
Yeah. I assume that the body armor that you guys usually wear is strike resistant?
It is for bullets. It is not for slashing implements or sharp implements.
Yes, but I'm very
That's why
confident.
wearing him in the jail is pointless.
I'm very confident that if slashed with half a garden shear, there's a good chance that what you're wearing is going to protect you.
Protect the torso area, sure.
Only where that
doesn't
stuff
extend
is.
to my neck or
Correct.
my arms.
Yeah, no, I'm not saying he didn't do the right thing, but I'm also looking at, okay, so the guy slashes at your chest, whatever. But that instinct to get away was still there. Very strong.
Let me throw this at you. What do you think about rushing the guy?
Bad idea.
Okay, what other tools do you have at your disposal that could change things up?
Dogs.
Sure. Okay.
Dogs.
Okay. Now,
because I've been doing research on dogs lately.
Interesting. You have, but what crime do we have?
Right now, they said it was felony threatening.
Okay. So at least the policy in my department is you have to have a felony to use a dog. You can't use it on a juvenile. You can't use it for misdemeanors.
Okay.
So as long as you got a felony, you're all good. Absolutely.
All right.
So, but here's the other thing.
Go
Are
ahead.
you going to send a dog into that situation when he has a machete? What other tools would you want to use first, at least in my opinion?
So two things that I've seen in my limited experience. Number one is the dog as a distraction. So you get that dog kind of barking and kind of jumping like, man, I'm going to let this dog go. That's when the guys might be able to come around the other side. But it requires timing, communication, and training. Timing and communication they don't have because they've got that blind side. They've got that big green electrical box, right?
Yep.
The other thing I don't see is the big blue beanbag gun.
There you go. I had two things in mind. Yep. We call it's a 40 millimeter like sponge round that hurts. Oh yeah. Or a taser.
Sure.
I mean, you said the guy deployed, or the reporter said one deployed the taser while the other guy shot him.
Yeah.
Maybe don't rush him and be like, hey, listen, we've reached that line in the sand, and you're going to come with us one way or the other. And if we have to tase you, that's what we're going to do.
There may be bodily harm involved.
Very matter of fact about it.
And one of the things I do, MC, is I try to, I don't know if this works on the law enforcement side. Maybe my EMS peeps in the audience can back me up here, but giving the patient that it's their decision. Hey, man, you can stand here and things get worse. You're risking bodily harm because we're about to tase you, or you can come out on your own.
Yeah.
Your shot. Your call. You decide.
Maybe shot is the wrong word.
No, leave that nomenclature in there. So he's thinking shots. Taser. Okay, maybe I'm going to come out, or I'm about to ride the lightning. And
here's the interesting thing about a taser. Regardless of how crazy you are, if you get a good spread, it's a neuromuscular inhibitor. You're going to lock up unless it gets hung up in clothing, or it's not a good spread, or you're whacked out on PCP. It's not
100% at all. So anybody saying, why didn't they tase him? Not 100%. But they didn't try.
It's a good place to start.
It does not appear from the video that they attempted to tase him before they rushed around the corner.
Right. And so what are you doing when you're rushing around the corner?
You're going into a blind situation with someone who is panicked and excited. And when they're panicked and excited, they react.
Are you potentially forcing a confrontation?
Yes.
Right? Yeah.
Not potentially. You are.
There
That's
you go.
why they're rushing him.
All right, let's see what she's going to fall over from these stars. Dude.
Susan Ballard.
That's driving me nuts.
Slow motion or instant replay. That these situations happen quickly. They're dynamic. It's highly stressful.
Well,
and
over a
these
10-minute
officers
period.
have to make split-second decisions.
Hold on. Pause that
They
real
try-
quick. This was not a split-second decision.
Overall, correct. In the moment, incorrect.
The decision to use the firearm for self-preservation, that was in split second.
I think that's what she was referring to.
But the plan leading up to putting yourself in that environment where you had to make that we already know it was at least 10 minutes of planning.
Absolutely.
So I think to say that these officers made a split-second decision, it was life or death, is kind of skipping over the whole maybe had a bad plan from the get-go that puts you in that scenario.
The thing that really drives me nuts about it is so many officers just dogpiling on somebody, right? And that's typically, that's how people are going to get hurt.
Yes.
There's a reason I've been doing Kung Fu for the past couple of years. You know, I practice with a very long staff. Now, I don't have that option, but what I do have is a collapsible baton. Or if somebody carries an old-fashioned 36-inch straight stick, is there anything saying you can't, through training, very, very important, through training, parry this guy's slash?
Sure.
Parry it, crack him one, game over.
And being able to come in, and it's going to sound like the shoot it out of his hand comment, but come in with that baton and just hit his wrist. Knock his wrist as hard as you can. But if you don't tell the officer behind you, I am going for the right wrist, you go for the body. You guy behind us, cover us with taser, with whatever, even though we've seen that kind of goes bad in the past, guys.
True.
It doesn't seem to me like the initial rush had a plan.
They were going for a dog pile. He was going to tackle the guy who is holding two edged weapons.
Yes.
And when my momentum takes me on top of you, and your just natural inclination is to, put a guard up, and you have an implement in your hand that has a sharp edge, and I'm landing on top of you.
That's bad.
That is real bad.
Yep.
That's real bad. So, like we're talking about, before you decide to make make a plan before you just go for it, right? You've had plenty of time. And unfortunately, this, as we'll see here momentarily, didn't end well for this gentleman.
Yeah.
But start with those weapons that you can deploy from a distance is your friend, for sure.
Yep.
What we're looking at right now, where the KHON Channel 2, where the officer is standing, what's that?
12 feet.
I'm going to say it's probably closer to 20. But either way.
Yeah, hard to tell with it's kind of a fish angle.
It is. You can deploy that 40 millimeter sponge round from there.
Oh, yeah.
There's no backdrop to worry about whatsoever. And, or a taser. So the guys around the corner know, because you don't want them lunging in there and getting tased themselves.
Exactly.
We've seen that.
And if the guy tries to run around the corner to get away from the taser, guess what? There's a taser on the other side.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Get this person to walk away from the weapons. And, he just refused. And when they did try and go in,
Hang on.
He
bent down to pick something up.
Yeah.
Does that mean he didn't have him in his hands?
It could have been, because I can't really see his hands well, it could have been that he had one edged weapon and the other edged weapon was put down. Now, that could have been some of the progress of, hey, dude, just put one down.
Maybe.
And let's keep talking.
Absolutely.
But yeah, he did definitely reach down and arm himself, but only after the officers came around the corner.
You saw in the video that there was no guns
Reflex.
drawn at the time. And so when they went in, they wanted to arrest this.
Can we land on one color glove, please?
Well, I don't know. It could be a college town and their colors are purple and white, but yeah.
All right.
Person, but he made that choice of picking up a weapon and attacking an officer.
There have been 11 officer-involved shootings so far this year. 6 were fatal.
Honolulu.
Regardless of what the person's state of mind is, the suspect's state of mind, the officer still has to, look out for, their protection as well as the protection of the community. And it's just, I really don't know what's going on, but it's just, it really seems to be really bad this year.
You know what I just saw? You see the yellow Ballard there?
Yeah.
Behind the bushes, there's another officer in the background.
I was
right there.
Oh, yeah.
Here,
I was wondering.
I'll call it out on the video, but
Yeah,
Right
I was
here.
wondering why we didn't have an officer kind of closer to the fence.
Is there
But that
any reason that dude couldn't sneak up behind this guy and tase him?
could. But
I mean-
I would also hesitate to put someone back there. So let's say that they told me
the dude with the machete ain't gonna get to him.
hold on. I'm not worried about the dude with the machete. I'm worried about my officer and the spread of the taser. If he deploys, he loses his footing, whatever. Now I've got an officer coming over the fence that gets tased, and the guy still has two-edged weapons. I look at it as an unsafe place to be.
Oh, he's covering
what I
his
see.
bases. He's covering his bases. But I don't think there's anything wrong with having upper ground, higher ground is almost always an advantage.
And another view, and they're cutting off another possible means of escape if the guy decides to go crazy and jump the
Absolutely.
fence. Yeah.
So I think we can wrap this up pretty quickly by simply saying, have a plan.
Have a plan.
And communicate that plan. Talk about these things, just like we've said innumerable times. Talk about these things before they happen. Having this video review in lineup, where I work, is always we always end up making jokes, of course.
Yeah.
But it's great training. And this is not to cast aspersions on any particular officer, but it's to put yourself in the mindset of these people as they're dealing with these kinds of incidents.
So if you don't go through and watch these videos and learn from them, you're not getting this kind of secondary exposure to experience that these officers had.
Yeah, absolutely.
You're not learning it in the moment and afterwards saying, man, maybe we didn't have to shoot that guy if we had a plan. You can say, if I get in this situation, I want to make sure we have one person on point, keep him busy. Somebody else who's in charge is in the background putting together a plan and putting everybody in on the plan.
And last thing I'll say is, from the other vantage point where we saw the officer rushing the guy, the bad guy's focus is on the officer we currently see on the screen here. And is there anything? Is it too sneaky to tase dude while he's looking the other way?
No, not at all.
Absolutely not.
Nope.
Light that guy up, man. Done. And then you can jump on him. That's fine. Get him in handcuffs. Everybody goes home. Everybody's safe, etc.
Yep. So it's definitely something to learn from. But Honolulu, tough spot.
Yeah,
tough spot to be in,
that's
guys.
it's a rough. They did what they had to do.
Yep.
They protected their officer, and unfortunately, this gentleman lost his life.
Yeah.
So until next time,
Good stuff.
do us a favor, make that plan. However, if you also want to make a plan to see more of these videos, and you have one in particular you're interested in us reviewing, send us an email, either justin@wyeradio.com or jason@wyeradio.com. Send us that link, and who knows, maybe your video will be the next one we make fun of.
Yeah, we'd love to see it.
Review.
Yeah.
I said
love
review,
to see
right?
it. Send it on, guys. Until
All
then,
right,
cheers.
Cool. Cheers.